Welcome, live pictures at 134.5 kilometers here on the 107th Paris-Roubaix. Well, this morning it looked a little bit threatening, you know, when we woke up at Compiègne this morning. The rain had obviously been coming down overnight, and you can see there's vestiges of dampness on the side of the road here. But glad to say that as we were coming up the motorway to Roubaix, the sun was out. It's clouded over a little bit today, but almost perfect conditions at the moment. Not too warm, not too slippery. Just the dust being kept down by the dampness overnight. They've got 134 kilometers to go in this, the queen of all classics. Now, I wonder if I'll change my mind this week and say this is my favorite classic race. Who knows? This has got 27 sections of pave, but it's pretty much a flat race.
Yes, well, it's a dead flat race, really. Just the cobblestones are quite a bit more difficult than the Tour of Flanders. And you know, people that ride the Tour of Flanders randonnée, they think that the cobblestones are really, really difficult and really rough sections. But here it's something else again. It's much more difficult to ride all the cobble sections because they're in such a bad state. A lot of the sections, it's frightening at times, and we'll see later. We can see here the bunches going along at a very fast rate to get onto this section.
Yeah, the pace has really been up now as they're coming up towards the Arenberg Forest. There it is ahead of you. You could see they're racing towards it. They'll be desperate to get onto it. You saw halfway along, in fact, on the right-hand side of the road, mechanics holding wheels high up in the air so that they can, they'll be there if anything happens along this. This is exactly what Paris-Roubaix is about. If you're joining us now, this is, and things already bouncing. That's just a flag bouncing out there. Thank goodness for that. There must be some heart-stopping moments when you see things bouncing in front of you on the Arenberg Forest. Often these guys try and get over to they used to try and get over into the woodlands, in fact, if the weather was so bad, and ride along where a lot of these spectators are now. But they are flat out, all lined out here. A bit on, getting flung to the side, just trying to keep it out of the way. Johan Museo had a massive crash here and broke his leg so badly, and almost lost his leg, actually, from the result of the blood poisoning that came on with this, the injury here. There's a big crash. Look, there's a crash halfway down, I think, already, and people trying to get out of the way of that. All over the place. Oh, another one on the right-hand side. They're coming down like flies here. Right in the middle is a big, big crash. And all sorts of people all over the place. Well, let's hope that, I think somebody's clipped the barrier there. This is the point. They're just getting bounced around all over the place. We don't know, of course, who it is at the moment. It looked like one of the Landau-credited boys was down on the floor. And some people getting in the way. It's holding up loads of people at the back. This is a disaster for anybody who gets held up at the back. It's Steve Morabito, the Swiss rider, with Astana, just trying to pick his way through. And one of the, I think it's Rick Flint's from... Oh, it's Hayden Ralston, is it, who's gone down? Hayden Ralston is one of them who's just gone down, and Vincenti Reines, so we've just seen getting up there. Oh, that is so difficult. Well, I mean, at least he's up, Sean, and there's no broken bones as far as we can see here. Oh, look at the decimation here amongst people.
Yes, well, it's a classic in the Arenberg section. We always see those crashes, and we see Bonin there on the front pulling it along, and you have to ride up front, and if you can get on the front of the group and keep the pace really high, it's a safe position, and it's the best position to be. Just ride it through and then see as you get out the other end what's position, what's after happening, what damage is done. But certainly, like the riders that fall, even if you have not an injury, you could have a long chase away. As I mentioned earlier, if a group goes ahead here of 20-30 riders up front, you're going to have a long chase, and you pay for those efforts later on this race.
Well, you can see Bonin is right towards the front. You can see Heinrich Hausler going through there as well, about 20 back on Bonin. Just look at the string. Way out all over the place, bouncing around all over this, trying to get the best possible line, and they're hammering on at the front of Saxo Bank now. Our breakaway group have already just left. They've done the sharp left-hander getting out of the Arenberg Forest. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 20 riders here. 1, 2, 3, 4 from Cervelo here in this group. Fifth Cervelo rider trying to come across. That looks like Johan von Sungeren trying to get onto the back of this group. And one going up on the far left-hand side. It looks like Heinrich Hausler coming to the front and pushing on, wanting to make a difference, wanting to have a go at this point. Now, will the big favourites be looking at him? Because Bonin is a little bit further back. He was second in this string of riders, and Hausler's taking a flyer here, Sean.
Yes, well, certainly it looks like Hausler there, and seemed to be, you know, very easy along the section there, riding away from everybody else. Again, you know, it's really not the time to go in the attack. You have to follow this group, and we talked about Hausler yesterday, you know, in very good form, but some of the tactic errors that he makes are very, very noticeable. And once again here, every little bit on the front that you ride, you could pay for it in the end. But you know, if he just holds up here and waits for the rest to come up, certainly it's not a place where you can go on and, you know, ride on your own.
A bit of dust being kicked up now as it dries out. By and large, it's fairly nice out here as Tom Bonin puts the hammer down on this section, number 13 and 1.4 kilometers, and now he's really stringing people out here. This is a big move, I think. He's testing a few legs behind him. This is the first time we've really seen him go. Incidentally, a lot of people suggesting, and I think you're probably right, we did discuss this yesterday when we were looking at the tyres being run by Saxo Bank, very possibly Dugasts, made by Dugast, the people who make the cyclocross tyres, by the way. They used to make great silks as well for track racing, but yeah, perhaps they are Dugast. They've got that very, very Dugast sidewall on them, I think, or casing, should we say. They're very sort of cream-coloured casing. It may well be, but they are unbranded. This is our lead group. They've got about, they had a minute last time we saw it, but that's going to be coming down pretty quickly because now Tom Bonin has put a real fire into the chasing behind. There he is, look. Well, oh no! There's spectators there on the side of the road, and that wasn't a cyclist. There was a motorcyclist. Oh my word! Oh, that's awful. Oh, somebody's been hit by one of the motorcycles going along the side of the road. Oh, I do hope they're all right, but there's no movement there at all. That was awful. Looking over his shoulder is Tom Bonin to see what is going on, but that is a dreadful, dreadful thing to have to see live on television. Oh, and I think a lot of the riders have seen that as well, and especially these riders at the front. That's just shaking them a little bit. I mean, they've got to keep their mind on the job they're doing, but even so, to me, as though Guédon has managed to get back on here. He's at the back with Service Carnarvon here. Go on, son. I'm holding a candle up for him today because it would be brilliant if he could do something 12 years after he won. And look at this as they enter the Orchy section. Cervelo really pushing hard once again. Now Thor Hushoft lying second in line. Is it Hunt doing the work on the front here? He's bouncing around like crazy, but it looks like his style is a real hard, chunky rider. He knows all this sort of stuff. Always in great shape. He's had a great season so far. Really inspired, like so many other riders who've gone to Cervelo to looking at each other. There's another group just trying to get up to them of about 10 riders at the moment, and they are going to make it, I think. This is sector 11, 2.6 kilometers, as you can see at Orchy. This is the chasing group, and it will be very, very soon come into the 5-star section of Orchy proper, which is going to, as Lionel Burney was pointing out, this is where my legs went. There'll be a few guys who were wishing their legs would just come back at this point. There is Tom Bonin with the number 1 on his back. Right next to him, Thor Hushoft, who's doing well here. Very well. And Pippo Pozzato in the wheel of Bonin once again. There's Leif Hosta. Turns a little bit bigger gear than some of the others. Sylvain Chavanel still in this group. There is Matti Brecel of Saxo Bank. Johan von Summeren, who had to do a lot of work, I think it was last year, was it? Number 56.
Knocking on the door as such, and the group he's in now at the moment, if he's got it in the end, I think, you know, we could see Fletcher. He's a very aggressive rider, and he, you know, capable of going in the attack quite early, 20-25 kilometres to go. As we see Bonin here certainly upping the pace a lot, and a puncture for Martin Moynans here. He was doing the chasing, but Bonin now goes in the attack. And again, it just it proves that they're not happy with the situation up front. They're trying to trying to break up this one and trying to pull back this leading group. So certainly the Quick Steps not happy with the situation out front.
Well, once again, he's got his shadow behind him, Pipo Pozzato. Well, he's doing exactly the right thing, Pozzato. He doesn't have to show himself. If Bonin is going to do the work, he just sits there. He won't be very well liked for doing it, but certainly not by Quick Step and Tom Bonin. But Bonin really has to pull it out of the bag on this one. It has to make his season. This is the real big one for him. Already a winner here, Bonin, of course, a multiple winner here back 2005 and 2008. He could join the illustrious triple club if he wins again today, and that is his sole aim for today as they go off the cobblestones onto the gravel and back onto cobblestones again. This is the front group. Hausler, Fletcher, Kinziato is in here, Wayland, and a little bit too difficult to let get away. Klostergaard was also in the group. They're feeling a bit strung out by the pressure being put on by Tom Bonin. They're all getting together now. Round in the corner then is Tom Bonin and co to link up. So we now have a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 15, but they're not happy here.
So I cannot see George getting back into this group, as we can see Bonin up front, and that's going to be the situation. Riders and teams pushing it along, and then riders going in the attack, as we see Bonin here. So it's going to be major difficult for him to get back up.
And Pipo Pozzato once again right on his rear wheel. They're almost conjoined twins, aren't they, in racing in the last week or so. Juan Antonio Fletcher trying to latch onto the wheel of Pozzato again, and Roubaix up here as well for Cervelo. And it's Bonin doing the driving at the moment on the front. It's Bonin, Pozzato, Fletcher, Roubaix, and who is coming up behind them? Hosta, with von Summeren behind him. I think this was the section a number of years ago when Leif Hosta got a Flandrian flag wrapped around his rear wheel. Is that right? And he locked it up completely, and he managed to hold the bike upright. And beginning to suffer a little bit at the back is Manuel Kinziato. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders chasing the extra pressure being put on by Tom Bonin. And now Pozzato, Filippo Pozzato, deciding to come to the front and actually do some work. And they'll be pleased about that. Kinziato being distanced now. He's just gamely hanging in there. If he can get through this section, maybe on the tarmac, he can time trial his way back up to this rear wheel, but it's only going to... Tom Bonin, this is while you're away, having to change a bike. And get back on. That's not good for him. He had a rear puncture and having to get a new wheel, having to chase back on, and there's nobody there to help him now. Tom Bonin is going to expend a fair amount of energy trying to get back. The #1 on his back, the former world champion, getting a new bike and having to come back. There he is at the back of this group. It's a good job it wasn't going absolutely flat out. Paul Anderson writing in on cycling.eurosport@yahoo.com. Can we broadcast speeds, the Trout? I'm afraid we don't. We say this on most races. It's worth saying every time we're on air, though. We don't provide the pictures and the graphics for this. They are provided by the host broadcaster. In this case, it's French television. We go with what they've got. So if they were going to put the speeds on, that's great. Otherwise, it's incredibly expensive to do that sort of thing. We understand has gone on the attack from Race Radio. Well, 1 minute we're saying he's looking a little, he's suffering a little bit. Oh, he almost collides, and they've gone down behind. Somebody's gone down. Oh, Fletcher goes down. Leif Hosta's gone down. Oh, a disaster for Juan Antonio Fletcher. Who else? Van Summeren. Oh, Fletcher went down ahead of... Oh, my word. Hosta went down right on his chest. Oh, I think he must have banged his chin on that as well. Oh. It was the front wheel that went away from Juan Antonio Fletcher. Oh, that's a disaster for Fletcher and for Horst and Van Summeren. Well, the whole nature of the game has changed here. Fletcher, it's the rear wheel that goes away. Here goes Hoster into him and straight down. Ow! Oh, my word. And you know, it looked to me as though Thor Hushovd only narrowly avoided hitting the motorcycle as well. And it gets Hushovd and Bonen now. What a race this is. It's just changed, flipped on its head immediately. Well, I thought this man was looking a bit dead and buried after the last attack, Sean, but suddenly Thor Hushovd has just completely come to life.
Yes, well, certainly he looked to be in trouble to react to that attack by Fletcher, and you know, immediately attacks. But sometimes if you're feeling a bit, you know, when it's really turned on, when it's, you know, the pace gets really fast, going the attack, and you know, there could be a little bit of rivalry with the other ones, and that maybe was the case. But certainly, you know, this crash has caused major problems. We see Hushovd actually, he almost slided off as well, so maybe that corner there was a little bit of wet on the cobblestones, and certainly, you know, it's going to be really difficult for the other ones.
Oh my word, no! Oh, he just ran wide. Thor Hushovd collides with the barriers, and Bonen is riding away by himself. Look, he just takes it wide. Oh, he tries to keep it together. Oh, well, he's getting back up, I think. But Bonen's just by himself. It's just carnage all of a sudden. Tom Bonen, with 15 kilometers to go, is the only man who stayed upright. Pozzato really fighting to get up there. 13 seconds. He's taken 2 seconds according to the timing here out of him, but it looks closer to me with 8.5 kilometers to go. Tom Bonen trying to make his season absolutely spectacular again. Well, he had a lot of motorcycles and cars in front of him. You never know how much that was at. He managed to get quite close to a couple of them. Pozzato's been doing this by himself. Possibly very heavily. Certainly the guy or the spectator on the ground. As they go under the 1 kilometer go banner. Didn't look too good at all. They swing hard right here. Here we go. Into the velodrome then will be Tom Bonen. And let's listen to the crowd, because he's just going to come in very shortly now. Ahead of us, we'll see the big form of the Belgian. We see the commissaire's car in the distance going off. He's already celebrating on your screens. You can see, yes, I am number one. Here he comes, right-hand turn into the velodrome. Round he goes, a huge cheer goes up here. And this man has been in the right place at the right time all the way through the race, Sean.
Yes, well, certainly he's ridden a magnificent race. Tactically, you know, he's made no fault at all, and but certainly, you know, the man of the race, the man in form as well. Absolutely, he's going to join the true greats now. Absolutely join the true greats. He's taken the bell. He's riding by himself. Pozzato is not on the velodrome yet. Here comes Tom Bonen for victory. He is number one. He gets a third. Bonen capable of celebrating. And now Pozzato comes under the banking. Bonen joins the great Eddie Merckx, who'll be one of the first people to celebrate with him, I'm sure. He joins Rick Van Looy. And of course he can now tilt at Roger de Vlaming's 4 record. There he is. Tom Bonen wins Paris-Roubaix. There is Filippo Pozzato, always his shadow, and in the end it didn't pay off for him. He's still got a little way to go. He slaps him on the shoulder, say well done. So they were, of course, teammates at Quick-Step. Pozzato went off. He wanted something else for himself. And Pozzato's going to take second. And where are the others? Just coming into the stadium very shortly will be the last three. Are they coming underneath us? Oh, here they are. They're underneath us already. We can't see them on the screen. But it's Van Summeren, Hushovd in second spot, and Leif Hoster lying third. Well, Hushovd we wanted to take the sprint out for third place. Filippo Pozzato crosses himself, takes second. Not to be victory for him this year.
But second, nothing to be sniffed at. Here's going to be the sprint. Who's going to take third? This will go down India Palmares. Third is nothing to be ashamed of here, especially after the incredible last 25 kilometers we've had. Hoster, he's got to go early around the outside because the man ahead of him has got a super sprint on him, but he's pretty tired. It's Tozoft who takes third. Just a little disappointing. There is the result then. Tom Bonen takes his third Paris-Roubaix victory ahead of Filippo Pozzato of Katusha. The gap 47 seconds. Then Tozoft, the Norwegian.